London, May 1940. The war has been raging for less than a year, and Britain is losing. France has fallen. The Nazi blitzkrieg has crushed every army in its path. Britain stands alone, an island fortress facing an enemy that seems unstoppable. The German U-boats control the Atlantic, sinking supply ships faster than Britain can build them. Starvation looms. Invasion seems inevitable. But there is another war happening, one that almost no one knows about. In a secret compound about 50 miles north of London, hidden behind barbed wire and armed guards, over 7,000 men and women work in complete silence. They are not soldiers. They are mathematicians, linguists, chess champions, crossword puzzle experts, and brilliant minds recruited from universities across Britain. They call the place Bletchley Park, and their mission is impossible: break the Nazis' unbreakable code. The Germans believe their communications are absolutely secure. They use a machine called Enigma, a device that looks like a typewriter crossed with a telephone switchboard. Every German military message, every order from Hitler, every tactical communication, every supply report is encrypted with Enigma. The Germans are certain that no one on Earth can break it. They are wrong. On a cold morning in May 1940, a young mathematician named Alan Turing walks through the gates of Bletchley Park. He is thin, awkward, brilliantly strange. His colleagues describe him as a man who thinks in ways that normal brains cannot comprehend. He is about to lead a team that will do something that military experts said was mathematically impossible: crack Enigma. What Turing doesn't know yet is that his work will save millions of lives. It will shorten the war by years. It will change the course of human history. And it will remain classified for decades, a secret so important that even after the war ends, the British government will deny its existence for 30 years. This is the story of Operation Ultra, the secret intelligence operation that won World War II. To understand how Alan Turing broke Enigma, you first have to understand how Enigma worked. The machine looks innocent enough, a wooden box about the size of a typewriter, with a keyboard and a series of rotors inside. When a German operator types a message, each letter gets scrambled by the rotors before being transmitted as encrypted code. The genius of Enigma is that the rotors move with each keystroke, so even if the same letter appears twice in a message, it gets encrypted differently each time. The encryption combinations are astronomical millions upon millions of possibilities. A message encrypted on one Enigma machine looks like complete gibberish to anyone else, or so the Germans thought. The Wehrmacht, the Luftwaffe, the Navy, every branch of the German military relies entirely on Enigma. Generals issue orders via Enigma. Ships coordinate attacks using Enigma. U-boats receive their target assignments via Enigma. Without the ability to intercept and read these messages, the Allies are flying blind. Winston Churchill himself later admits that the German Navy was the one thing that really frightened me during the war. The U-boats, communicating via Enigma, were sinking British supply ships faster than Britain could fight back. If the Enigma code cannot be broken, the Allies will starve before they can ever launch an invasion of Europe. In Poland, before the Nazi invasion, Polish mathematicians had built a machine they called the Bombe, a mechanical device that could test different Enigma settings and look for patterns. But the Bombe only works on the older Enigma model. When the Germans upgrade the machine and add more rotors, the Polish Bombe becomes useless. The Polish mathematicians pass their research to the British, along with a gift: an actual Enigma machine smuggled out of Poland before the Nazis arrive. The machine sits in a locked room at Bletchley Park. It is the key to everything, and no one knows how to use it yet. Alan Turing was born in 1912 to an upper-class British family. His father worked in the Indian civil service. His mother raised him according to strict English tradition. By every account, Turing should have become a conventional English gentleman. Instead, he became one of the greatest minds the world has ever known. As a boy, Turing was awkward and shy. He was teased at school. He didn't make friends easily. But his mind worked in extraordinary ways. He would solve mathematical problems that baffled his teachers. He would lose himself in books about cryptography and abstract mathematics for hours, forgetting to eat or sleep. By the time he reached Cambridge University, Turing had already made groundbreaking contributions to mathematics and logic. In 1936, while still in his mid-20s, he published a paper that would later form the theoretical foundation of the modern computer. In it, he described a hypothetical machine, what we now call a Turing machine, that could theoretically perform any mathematical calculation. He was describing the future, he was describing computers, and he didn't even know it. When the war breaks out, Turing is recruited by the Government Code and Cipher School GC and CS, the British intelligence agency responsible for breaking enemy codes. They don't recruit him because he is charming or good at following orders. They recruit him because he is the smartest person in the country. In November 1939, Turing arrives at Bletchley Park. He is 27 years old. The compound is extraordinary. The workers are housed in dormitories. There are several large Victorian mansions that serve as administrative headquarters and workspaces. There are dozens of huts scattered across the grounds, each one housing a different section of the code-breaking effort. Some huts focus on army codes, some focus on navy codes, some focus on Luftwaffe communications. The organization is complex and compartmentalized. Each section knows only what it needs to know. Turing is assigned to Hut 8, which focuses on breaking the German Navy's Enigma code. The Navy Enigma is the most heavily encrypted. It is also the most important. If the Allies can read German Navy communications, they can find and sink the U-boats before they sink any more British ships. Turing is given a small team, a handful of mathematicians, and a few of the brightest young minds in Britain. Together, they will attempt to do something that the Germans insisted was impossible. Break Enigma. Turing's genius is understanding that breaking Enigma isn't about trying to guess the right settings by brute force. There are too many combinations. Even testing one combination per second, it would take longer than the age of the universe to try them all. Instead, Turing realizes that breaking Enigma requires finding patterns. If you can find patterns in the encrypted messages, you can use those patterns to narrow down the possible settings. And if you can narrow down the possibilities, you can build a machine to test them automatically. Working with fellow mathematician Gordon Welchley and a brilliant mechanical engineer named Harold Doc Keane, Turing designs a revolutionary machine. It is based on the Polish Bombe, but vastly improved. The machine is massive, about the size of a large refrigerator. Inside are dozens of rotating drums, electrical switches, and mechanical components working in concert. They call it the Bombe machine. Here's how it works. An Enigma message always begins with a weather report. The operators know that the first few encrypted letters will decode to known German words. This is the crucial weakness that Turing exploits. The Bombe machine tests different rotor positions and settings. When a setting produces known German words at the beginning of a message, the machine detects it and stops. That setting is the key to decrypting the entire message. In theory, the Bombe should be able to break an Enigma message in hours instead of months. The problem is building it. British factories are already stretched to their limits, building weapons for the war effort. Turing and his team have to scavenge parts, negotiate for manufacturing time, and improvise solutions. The first Bombe machine is completed in March 1940. It doesn't work perfectly. The process is still slow, and the Germans add more rotors to Enigma, making the problem exponentially harder. But then something extraordinary happens. In May 1941, British forces raid a German Navy U-boat that has been damaged by depth charges. Before the U-boat sinks, British sailors manage to capture its Enigma machine and its codebooks. The codebooks are the Holy Grail. They contain the actual settings the Germans are using for each day's communications. Turing's team now has not just one Enigma machine, but the actual daily keys. Within weeks, the Bombe machines are breaking Enigma messages. At first, it's just a handful, then dozens, then hundreds. By 1942, Bletchley Park is decrypting over 3,000 German messages per day. The Germans have no idea their code has been broken. They believe Enigma is still absolutely secure. With Enigma broken, the war changes overnight. The British learn the location of German U-boats before they sink ships. Convoys are rerouted to avoid them. When a U-boat approaches, depth charges are waiting. The U-boat menace that had terrified Churchill, that had nearly starved Britain into surrender, begins to fade. On the battlefield, British commanders know where German forces are going to attack before they attack. At the Battle of North Africa, when General Bernard Montgomery faces the legendary German general Erwin Rommel, Montgomery knows exactly where Rommel's forces are positioned. He can prepare his defences accordingly. Rommel, brilliant tactician though he is, has no idea that his every move is being read. After the war, Montgomery will reveal that ultra-intelligence was worth 15 divisions to the Allies. 15 divisions. That means Ultra gave the Allies the equivalent of an extra 200,000 soldiers. But there is a terrible dilemma. If the Allies act on every piece of ultra-intelligence, the Germans will realize the code is broken. They will change their encryption methods, and Bletchley Park will be plunged back into darkness. So British intelligence has to make agonizing decisions. Sometimes they act on ultra-information and attack German forces. Other times, they deliberately let German attacks succeed so the Germans won't suspect their code is compromised. There are instances where British intelligence knows that a British ship is about to be sunk, and they let it happen because stopping the attack would reveal that Enigma is broken. British sailors die, but if the Germans discover that Enigma is compromised, millions more will die. The weight of these decisions rests on the shoulders of the codebreakers at Bletchley Park. They are not soldiers. They will never fire a gun or see combat, but their work determines the fate of the war. One intelligence report from Ultra tells British commanders that a German convoy is passing through the Mediterranean. The commanders can position their forces to sink every ship and capture every soldier. But if they do, the Germans will know their communications are being read. Instead, they stage a fake reconnaissance flight over the convoy. They make it look like a British spotter plane discovered the convoy by chance. Then they attack. The German convoy is destroyed, but the Germans believe they were just unlucky, their security wasn't compromised. These small deceptions, repeated hundreds of times throughout the war, maintain the most precious secret. Enigma is broken. By 1944, the codebreakers at Bletchley Park have become so skilled that they can sometimes decrypt German messages in real time. As soon as a message comes in, it is decrypted and analysed. Within hours, intelligence reports reach British and American commanders. The Germans are planning something. The intelligence reports indicate that Hitler is preparing to launch new weapons, V-1 flying bombs and V-2 rockets. Ultra-intelligence tells the Allies exactly where these weapons are being built. The Allies bomb the factories. Hundreds of V-weapons are destroyed before they can be used. Then comes the 6th of June 1944, D-Day. The Allies are launching the invasion of Normandy Operation Overlord. It is the largest military operation in human history. Over 150,000 soldiers will cross the English Channel in a single day. The success of the invasion depends on surprise. If the Germans know it's coming, they can position their forces to repel it. The beaches will become bloodbaths. Ultra-intelligence tells the Allies that the Germans are completely fooled. German commanders still believe the main invasion will happen at Pas-de-Calais, far north of Normandy. Ultra shows that German reinforcements are not being sent to Normandy, they're being held back, waiting for the real invasion at Pas-de-Calais. The Normandy beaches are less defended than they could have been. When the American and British soldiers storm ashore at dawn on June 6, they face less resistance than anyone expected. Thousands of lives are saved because Enigma is broken. General Dwight Eisenhower, the supreme commander of the Allied forces, will later say that ultra-intelligence was worth 15 military divisions. Without Ultra, the invasion of Normandy would have failed, or succeeded only at terrible cost. After the war, Winston Churchill will classify all information about Ultra as most secret. The intelligence operation will remain hidden from the public for 30 years. It will not be until 1974 that the British government finally releases information about Bletchley Park and Operation Ultra. By then, many of the codebreakers have passed away. Alan Turing has been dead for 20 years. Alan Turing saved the world. His work shortened World War II by years. His theoretical work in mathematics laid the foundation for the modern computer age. He is one of the greatest geniuses in human history, and after the war, his own country destroys him. In 1952, Turing is arrested. His crime? Homosexuality. In post-war Britain, homosexuality is illegal. Turing is sentenced to chemical castration injections of hormones designed to suppress sexual desire. The brilliant mind that broke Enigma and changed the course of history is poisoned by his own government. Turing becomes depressed. He struggles with the psychological and physical effects of the chemical treatments. On the 7th of June 1954, Alan Turing is found dead in his apartment. He is 31 years old. An apple sits on his nightstand, partially eaten and laced with cyanide. The official cause of death is recorded as suicide by cyanide poisoning. But was it suicide, or was it an accident? Some believe Turing accidentally inhaled cyanide fumes from a chemistry experiment he was conducting. Others believe he deliberately took his own life. Either way, the world lost one of its greatest minds. A man who had saved millions of lives was destroyed by the prejudice and cruelty of his own society. It wasn't until 2013, 59 years after his death, that the British government officially pardoned Alan Turing. The pardon came too late. Turing never knew that history would vindicate him. He never knew that he would be recognized as one of the greatest mathematicians and logicians who ever lived. He never knew that his theoretical work would inspire the computer revolution. He only knew that his country, which he had served with brilliance and dedication, had condemned him for who he was. Epilogue: the legacy of Ultra Operation. Ultra remained classified until 1974. For nearly 30 years, the public didn't know that Enigma had been broken. Military historians scratched their heads trying to explain how the Allies won the war. How did they always seem to know where the Germans were? How did they avoid ambushes so consistently? The answer was Ultra, and Ultra was so secret that even after the war, it remained hidden. When the truth finally emerged, historians had to completely rewrite the history of World War II. They realized that Enigma's breaking had been as important to winning the war as any military victory. Some historians argued it was more important. The Bombe machines are now displayed in museums. Bletchley Park has been preserved as a historical site. Every year, thousands of visitors walk through the huts where the codebreakers worked, trying to imagine the intellectual intensity of those days, the pressure, the secrecy, the knowledge that their work was determining the fate of nations. Today, Alan Turing is recognized as one of the greatest minds in human history. The Turing test, which he developed to measure machine intelligence, is still considered fundamental to artificial intelligence research. Universities around the world teach his theoretical work in computer science and mathematics. But his greatest achievement, Operation Ultra, remains bittersweet. It saved millions of lives. It shortened the war. It changed the course of human history. And it could not save him from the cruelty of his own society. The man who broke the unbreakable code could not break the chains of prejudice that bound him. What do you think? Could a single team of mathematicians really change the course of the war? Operation Ultra proves that sometimes the greatest weapons are not guns or bombs, they're brilliant minds, mathematical insight, and the courage to attempt the impossible. But this raises another question. How many other secrets like this are still hidden in the vaults of government intelligence agencies? How many operations have shaped history without the public ever knowing? If you want to discover more untold World War II stories, secret operations that changed the course of history, and the brilliant minds behind them, subscribe now and turn on notifications. Drop a comment below. What other World War II mysteries should we investigate? Because history isn't just about battles and generals. It's about the invisible war, the war of codes and secrets, and brilliant minds